on the water on the Susan River, and we had it in September, and we had half the number of kids show up. I mean, school's coming on, things are happening, it's understandable. So this last year, we had 304 participants, 101 ages 2 to 5, 203 ages 6 to 15. Prizes were awarded to everybody. We give away first place bicycles in books, so they're divided in by age and by gender. So boys and girls age 2 to 5 and boys and girls age 6 to 15. First place is bikes, second place is rods and reels, and third place is tackle boxes. And then we also do a biggest fish prize. So this year the biggest fish was 2 pounds, 3 ounces, and I have to say it was 18.5 inches. And this is important because there was another fish that was 2 pounds, 3 ounces, but it was 18.25 inches. So that extra quarter inch on the young man's fish got him a custom rod, put together by Dave Hutala at Elgin Iverson Men's Den. And then Lassen Sportsman's Club paired that with a quality reel to go with it. And that was won by a boy in the 2 to 5 age group. So I always hand it to him, then hand it to the father and say, this is not a lifesaver. So that's something you can keep forever and use forever as long as you treat it nicely. We also give out sportsmanship awards in each age group to the kid. You know, there's always a kid who shows up and has a really small fish and has no chance of winning anything, but is totally stoked by what he got or she got. And those are the kind of people we look for who are happy just because. And every year there's somebody. All right. So this year will be our 36th Derby. And as Jim Chapman reminded me, the Derby we have today actually is a follow-on Derby that something was going on by another group in the 60s and 70s called Amalgamated. Was that what he said? Amalgamated something. I hadn't heard that before. I should have been paying more attention. So at any rate, we've been doing this for 36 years. I myself have been involved for 15, and I've been the Derby chairman since the COVID year. So this will be 5 years this year. So as usual, we'll be signing up at Memorial Park at 5 a.m. in the morning. We're going to start fishing sometime between 5 and 5:30. I've got to look at what the sunrise time is and everything in order to do that. I don't want people hanging around while the sun's up because we put it on the poster to start later than it should, like we did last year. So we're going to kind of fix that. And then, of course, Walmart comes and does breakfast at the snack bar. You know, they make burritos, breakfast burritos, and everybody loves them, and they go out. And then we'll make lunch. Greg Sella comes down and grills up lunch for anybody who wants it. And then at 3 o'clock, the fun begins. Everybody's got to be back by 2:45 at the latest to get their fish weighed, and then we do the prizes. So we figure out who's got the biggest fish in each group and do those. And then you guys also help us with supplying the event cards, which has individual numbers. So every kid has to have one of those in order to be legal on to fish. And what they will do is they'll come back, they'll turn those cards back to us, and we give them a ticket. And then we start pulling tickets and giving away prizes. And we have a lot of people who donate prizes all across the spectrum. You know, we basically have 2 types of sponsors: those who sponsor with gifts for prizes, and those who sponsor with money for fish. So we spend about $8,500 a year for fish, about 1,700 pounds worth of fish, and then the state matches us because the state plants the Susan River twice a year, and so they do their spring plant in conjunction with the Derby, and we help them plant the fish. They show up, they plant where we want them to. It works out really, really well, and yeah, people have a great time. And there's still lots of fish left over for everybody else. You know, 1,700 pounds. My average fish are probably about 2.5 pounds, maybe a little bit bigger. The state plants them smaller because they kind of want them to grow. But you know, we only caught. Did you put it on there this time? Oh, she didn't. Usually we put the number of fish on there. I will say that in the years I've done this, I've never seen so many full stringers. Remember how many? Every kid seemed like they had their 5 fish, which is really unusual. So I think it was a great year. That's all I got. Any questions?
Questions?
All right.
Good.
Thank you so much. So my phone isn't ringing off the hook in my pocket today, so I will stick around for the vote, unlike I did last year when I ran out. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, so council, since you had no questions, I'm going to ask the public any questions or comments on this item. All right, then is there a motion and a second?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, there you go. You made it through the vote.
Thank you so much, really appreciate it.
You too.
Like to see everybody out there checking it out on the day.
Don't forget your hat.
You got it twice, Sam. Don't forget your hat. Thanks. In seconds on you, that's true.
Can I add, I want to add to that, I'd like to put $500 in my yearly towards the
Yeah, I think probably, Mayor Pro Tem Brown, it would be appropriate to bring that up under future council items,
Oh, okay.
and then we can get it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay, item 9B. Item 9B is the discussion regarding our citywide strategic planning, and that's Dan Newton, our city manager.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. This item was first brought for the council for forward for discussion on January 15th. And so I have a PowerPoint that I'll bring up to kind of go over some of that discussion to get us back to where we are today. But the strategic planning effort is, I think, important for our organization because it will lay a solid foundation to implement the goals and objectives, priorities of the City Council. As Council's aware, right now we currently have a ongoing project list that has several projects on it that are ranked in order of priority. So we're moving several of those forward as time allows and as quickly as we can. And we also identify some priorities, but some of the priorities may not be in line with the core missions or vision of the City Council. And so in order to provide clarity and communication to our staff, and also to provide a framework and an environment where our staff members know what their role is in the organization and how they're working toward accomplishing the goals and objectives of the City Council, we really want to put a good strategic plan in place and also an implementation methodology so that we can provide not only our internal staff but also the public with information regarding what we're working on. And the other component of it is we often take on a larger number of programs than we have the capacity to effectively manage. And so by narrowing that focus, the goal is to be able to accomplish more because we have several things that are currently in progress that the more you open up and put on your docket, the slower it seems like everything else goes. And so that's kind of the gist of what we're looking at from this strategic planning process. So a lot of these slides will look familiar, but at its core, strategic planning is communication. And like I mentioned earlier, we're really trying to use this as an internal and external communication tool so that the priorities of the City Council are clearly communicated both within and outside of our organization. Talk about the purpose and need. I covered that a little bit. Basic understanding. These will look familiar because it's basically the same slideshow that I presented in January. So I'm going to run through fairly quickly. I wanted to explain how we can start by using our mission statement as a communication tool. And so tonight we will be presenting. Change my battery here. Tonight we'll be presenting our proposed draft mission statement that we've developed at the staff level for council's consideration. Like I mentioned earlier, we offer a broad range of services with limited resources. And unfortunately, we can't be everything to everyone. When we try to do this, we fail. And what we're really trying to do is produce results. Like, when we sometimes try to compare, how can a city government function more like a business? One of the ways that we can function more like a business is by focusing on results, so results matter. You know, contrary to a private company that, you know, has clear objectives, do they relate to our strategy, our mission? Cities managers and leaders often talk to city staff about the idea of our organization and why it was created. So this is all kind of intended to assess, you know, how we're doing, you know, talking to our staff, and does our staff understand, you know, what we're trying to accomplish as an organization. And the results indicate that we're not doing a great job of that, right? And I think in large part because we don't have a clear strategy or a clear mission in place at this time. So this slide kind of talks about the next step: develop a preliminary mission statement, develop a preliminary vision statement, which is what we're going to talk about in a little bit more detail tonight, and then engage city department heads to develop goals and objectives. That would be the next step. And then finally, as I mentioned earlier, select programs and projects that can be accomplished that relate to our goals and objectives all the way up to the mission. So, the City of Glendale mission statement, their mission statement is somewhat succinct, and when we were working on this at the senior staff level, we started with a pretty lengthy mission statement because we were trying to provide clarity and really hit the topics of, does our mission statement convey why we exist and the purpose of the city and why the city was created, right? And so it became, like I said, very wordy, fairly lengthy, and our staff, there was consensus that we needed to shorten it. And so what we did is we have a fairly succinct mission statement, but it's coupled with a more descriptive vision statement, right? And so I just wanted to give you an example of the City of Glendale's. Their mission statement is, the City of Glendale delivers exceptional customer service through precision execution and innovative leadership, right? Their vision is expanded. As a premier city anchored in pride of civic ownership, Glendale's success is realized through a community that is safe, prosperous, and rich in cultural offerings. This vision is accomplished with emphasis on, and you can see the bullets there, fiscal responsibility, exceptional customer service, economic vibrancy, informed and engaged community, safe and healthy community, balanced quality housing, community services and facilities, infrastructure and mobility, arts and culture, sustainability. So with the vision statement, the City of Glendale is able to correlate a lot more of the programs and services that they offer with the work that their staff is doing, right? And so we are presenting a similar model to the council tonight. And with our proposed mission statement, I'll just read that to you. The City of Susanville's mission is to serve our residents and visitors by engaging in activities that protect people, their property, and their freedom to act, explore, and prosper. And so kind of the concept of this mission statement is we try to identify, you know, what cities really do well, right? And so there's certain things that cities take on that they don't do well, right? And oftentimes, like for example, would be a recreational program. You know, cities often try to fill voids within the community that maybe services that were once offered by different organizations. But when we look at what, you know, how cities are formed and how cities function, what the powers of the city really are, the discussion often turns to, well, we have legislative authority and we have enforcement authority. And so if we use our legislative powers and our enforcement powers to put in place regulations that protect people, protect their property, and when we talk about their freedom to act, it means that we would be trying to preserve an individual's freedom to explore their own vision within the community. So having an environment where businesses can prosper. A good example is graffiti, right? So if we have a solid graffiti ordinance and we have a solid enforcement program for graffiti, then we're protecting people's property. If a business is impacted by a graffiti artist, those are the types of programs that the city could function, perform well. The other, important program that would, be very much in line with this particular mission statement is code enforcement activities. Same reason, the police department's enforcement of state, local, and other regulations to protect our citizens and their property. And so that's kind of the core function that we've identified as the city's role. And so that's why we're recommending that as our proposed mission statement. And I can just pause there if there are any questions. Okay, so moving on to our vision statement, which is going to be more robust. So the draft vision statement that we're proposing for council's consideration is the city of Susanville strives to become an efficient and fiscally solvent municipal government entity while focusing on, and here we have a bulleted list, being transparent, cost-conscious, and compliant with regulatory requirements, maintaining and repairing existing infrastructure, providing safe and reliable utility services at a reasonable cost, pursuing avenues for economic diversification, ensuring our staff members are fulfilled, well-trained, and devoted to customer service, legislating and enforcing rules and regulations, aligning adequate staffing resources with services provided, undertaking new projects and programs that clearly align with our mission statement, and divesting from activities that do not. So there's obviously a lot there. So we just kind of want to present it tonight for council's consideration. If you like what you see, then we can obviously put this out to the public through our social media channels and on our website, and get some public input on these proposals, and bring it back at a future meeting for council's approval, right? And so once we dial in, like I mentioned earlier, our mission and our vision, we can then move forward with developing goals and objectives, where we'll even add another layer of specificity to our strategic planning effort.
Okay, thank you. Council, do you guys have any clarifying questions? Okay, public, any questions or comments on this? All right, then council, let's come back up here for discussion. Any discussion regarding this?
Nothing actually. I think it looks pretty good, actually.
I think it's what we've been looking for.
Yeah, like the last bullet there.
It's pretty direct and pretty simple to understand. I like it.
Okay, when I came in, I was hoping that it would be, that the mission statement would be able to lead staff into good decision-making, and I believe that it does. I really like that. On the vision statement, if I had, like the perfect one, I would move enforcing rules and regulations to the top, because public safety is huge for, But other than that, I don't care, I'm not gonna die in that mountain. But yeah, I like it. So,
That's a good point. They're not necessarily ranked in any order.
Yeah.
So there would be no problem moving that to the top.
That's fine.
Okay.
The legislating and enforcing rules and
Yeah.
regulations.
Oh,
I think it's a good one to put at the top. That is kind of like the bulk of what the city does. Right?
Well, without public safety, we don't have the city.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I know I'm just springing it on the council tonight, and may have not had time to, obviously you haven't had time to consider and digest. So, you know, some direction potentially on how you'd like to move forward. If, you know, I could bring it back at the next item for an additional, a next agenda for another discussion. And that would allow the, you know, us time to get it out in the public. The public may want to come and make comments on it. I could agendize it for action for the council to approve at the next meeting. How would you like to move forward?
I mean, I would be in favor of making the adjustment that the mayor suggested to the vision statement, and then allowing the public to give us feedback and have it for potential approval at the next council meeting.
I agree. It'll give them time to think about it, but we can go ahead and put it on for approval. And the one thing I think is important for probably every, you know, the public to realize is if the staff doesn't buy into it, then it's a waste of our time. And I really appreciate that the staff came in and helped develop it. It's not something we're throwing at them without their knowledge and we just go, this is it, and we expect you guys to do it. You guys have to, they're the ones that have to buy into it, and I love the fact that they get it, you know. Because we come and go up here, and so it's really nice to have something that they were part of. I like it. So,
That'll give us time to circulate it with all of our staff as well, because we've just, you know, been doing this at the senior staff level, but it would, you know, be very valuable to get the input from, you know, the entirety of our city staff. So we'll probably get some good comments out of it as well.
so you're going to bring it back for action, then?
Yeah, I can bring it back for action on April 2nd.
That sounds good. Then we'll move on. Thank you so much. That was great. Are you ready to move on? Oh, it's Margaret next. Is Margaret? Oh, there she is.
Margaret's on. Margaret has laryngitis,
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
so I thought that.
Hello all.
Oh,
Hi, Margaret.
I hear her.
Good. Okay, so we're going to consider item
You
19.
can hear me, but
Yeah, our plan was I would do the initial presentation and Margaret would be available to answer questions if the council has any, you know, procedural questions on where to go next, if, you know, you would like us to move forward with the concept.